The first episode on the podcast is on financial literacy because I felt that many people didn't really know how to handle their finances, including me, and they didn't even know what to do with their money, including me. And I just sat and I was like, okay, how can I talk about business? How can I talk about money when I don't have a business? So I turned it into a show and The inspiration for the Mindful Entrepreneur podcast actually stems from an African history class. That was one of my best classes back in high school. And I was never taught African history throughout my life until I moved back to Cameroon, and they taught me that about colonization. They taught me about a group of people, dynamic people that had so much for themselves and didn't get the opportunity to explore that. And that kind of stemmed a passion to want to inspire young Africans, young Cameroonians like me, that Cameroon, Africa has so much potential, let's invest. So I took my little self and started reading a lot of business books, and from that point I started recording an episode. I think the first episode on the podcast is on financial literacy because I felt that many people didn't really know how to handle their finances, including me, and they didn't even know what to do with their money, including me. And I just sat and I was like, okay, how can I talk about business? How can I talk about money when I don't have a business? So I turned it into a show and I started interviewing Cameroonian entrepreneurs, and then I started expanding to Africans in the diaspora, and now I'm still interviewing such amazing entrepreneurs all over the continent. One thing I want to inspire or create as anybody who's going to listen to my podcast is for them to understand that Africans from all over the continent understand that we are all in this boat, where we're all trying to exploit our potential. We're all trying to invest, develop, represent our culture all over the globe. And it's important that the listener that is going to tune into my podcast understands that they can do something about themselves, for the future of the continent, for their community, and for anybody around them. What makes the podcast unique is I try to bring two languages together. I have a French background, and then I grew up in a very English-speaking background as well. So it's a challenge for me to bring in both, but I think it's about uniting people from different languages to tune into the show as well. So we have Francophone entrepreneurs, we have Anglophone entrepreneurs. I haven't learned Spanish yet, so the Spanish-speaking community, I'm getting there. So that's what really makes it unique, and it's part of my personality, it's part of where I grew up, and I wanted to share that on the podcast as well. For this third season, we're going to have a very dynamic set of entrepreneurs. I'm interviewing Kenyans, Tanzanians, Sudanese. It's going to be Ethiopians as well. It's going to be quite interesting and fun as usual. I'm going deeper because these set of entrepreneurs want to really promote the African culture in the different dynamics or the different industries they're in. And I think their stories are captivating. I think their stories are worth listening to, and their stories are already things that inspire me personally to want to invest in Africa. So the Mindful Entrepreneur Season 3 is going to be available on all podcast platforms, so you can tune in, listen, share, and give me your ideas, your point of views, and we can just keep growing together.